Welcome back to Spell It Tutorial Services. Today we're going to talk about the sum and difference formulas for sine and cosine functions. Those are trig functions. To the left here I have the four formulas defined. These formulas are derived from the unit circle. In today's example we're going to look at evaluating the cosine of 15 degrees. We want to evaluate this without using a calculator, so to do so we need to use what we know in trig and what we know about special triangles. So what we're going to do is end up using the difference formula for cosine. So we're going to find the difference of 60 minus 45. We chose 60 and 45 because those two angles are from special triangles, and also because 60 minus 45 gives us 15 degrees. So let's go ahead and take a look at which formula we'll be using, and we'll be using the second one here. Here we see that alpha is defined as 60 degrees and beta is defined as 45 degrees. So let's go ahead and rewrite the end piece of this of this formula, substituting in those values. So we're going to find the cosine of 60 times the cosine of 45, multiply those two results together, and then add that to the sine of 60 degrees times the sine of 45 degrees. Let's go ahead and look at the special triangles and the relationships from those special triangles that we decided to use. So the first one, let's draw a right triangle. That's 60 degrees. We know this here has to be 30 if this here is 90. And from our knowledge of trig, we know that opposite 30 degrees is 1, opposite the 60 degrees is root 3, and opposite the 90-degree angle, or the hypotenuse here, is just 2. Now let's look at the special triangle that has an angle of 45 degrees. 45 here, 45 there, and 90 here. I didn't say this earlier, but we know that the interior angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. That's how I know that both of these, if this is 45, that has to be 45, which is 90, plus this 90 is 180. But their relationships are opposite the 45-degree angles is 1, and opposite the 90-degree angle, or the hypotenuse here, is root 2. So using this information, we're going to evaluate each one of these trig functions. Let's start with the cosine of 60 degrees. We know the relationship of cosine is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, in this case 1 over 2, or just 1/2. We'll look at the 45-degree angle and again find the cosine of 45, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 over root 2. And now let's look at the next one, which is sine of 60. Sine's relationship is the opposite over hypotenuse, so that's root 3 over 2, and that's going to be multiplied by the sine of 45. Its opposite is 1, and its hypotenuse is root 2, so 1 over root 2. So now with this information, we continue to evaluate. With multiplying fractions, we multiply our numerators, 1 times 1, and we multiply our denominators, 2 times root 2, to give me 2 root 2. I'm going to add that to root 3 times 1, which is root 3, and then 2 times root 2, which is 2 root 2. Fortunately, I have common denominators, so now I can write this as one expression. So 1 plus root 3 divided by 2 root 2. We know that we should never leave a radical in our denominator. So what we're going to do is rationalize, and to rationalize we're going to multiply by root 2 over root 2. That's the same thing as 1, so we're not changing the value of the expression, we're just changing the display. Let's distribute the root 2. So root 2 times 1 is root 2, plus root 2 times root 3 is root 6, and root 2 times root 2 is just 2, and then 2 times that 2 gives me 4. So I'm left with root 2 plus root 6 divided by 4. Let me fix that 4 up. Now let's call it the calculator because I want to get a decimal representation of what we're looking at here. So let's clear the calculator. Square root of 2 plus square root of 6 is equal to that, and I divide that by 4, and I see that that evaluates to 0.9659. So let's add that in here. 0.9659. So we believe that to be the answer. Let's go ahead and call the calculator back up. And again, by using the calculator here, I'm just going to evaluate what we were given with from the start, which is cosine of 15 degrees. Punch that into the calculator, 15, take the cosine of that, and I see that 0.9659 matches what I came up with by hand. Alright, that concludes this video from Speller Tutorial Services. Please friend us on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube page, both found under the same name. And again, thank you for watching.